Hey, it's finally Foundation Friday. If you're new here on Fridays, I sit down and talk about a new or old, we don't discriminate here, foundation that I've been trying out. I do multi-day wear tests using a variety of tools, techniques, and products. Since you're interested in learning more about the new Auric Glow Lust, let's go ahead and get started. Normally at the start of the video, I will give a brief background about the brand, but I have a pretty intense overview that I posted not too long ago, so I will link that above and below. I highly recommend checking out that video if you're looking for more basic information. Since Glow Lust is most often compared to the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter, I wanted to put that to the test. So over the course of 2 weeks, I tried both products out using my top 3 favorite foundations: the Rare Beauty Liquid Touch Weightless Foundation, the NARS Soft Matte Complete Foundation, and the Pat McGrath Labs Skin Fetish Sublime Foundation. I also did an additional wear test that compared the two products against each other on each half of my face. If you want to get a better understanding of why those are the 3 foundations that I picked for this wear test and why those are my favorite foundations, I will link those review videos up above and down below for you to check out after this one. The Auric Glow Lust retails for $45 and you get 1.18 fluid ounces of product, which is more than a standard foundation. Now, the Glow Lust is not meant to be a foundation, it's meant to be a radiance enhancer, but just for a reference point, I'm using a standard foundation bottle. There are 7 flexible shades in this range that go from light cool beige to deep neutral cool. I use the shade Morganite, which seems to be the closest match to my skin tone. At the time that I'm filming this, there are 4 out of stock shades: Morganite, Selenite, Goldstone, and Axonite. I don't think I mentioned this in my previous video, but I wanted to include it here because I thought it was very interesting that when Sam was naming the shades, she opted for names of valuable gemstones and crystals versus having a shade range with numerical values like 1. She said she felt really uncomfortable with having to assign a shade as the number 1. I just thought that was an interesting little bit to include. The Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter retails for $44 and you get 1 fluid ounce of product. It now comes in 12 shades as Charlotte Tilbury recently expanded their range from 7. There are also now 4 shades available to purchase in mini size for $15. Their range does go from fair to deep. I use the shade Fair, which is the lightest shade in the range. I'm going to insert some swatches here of what they look like next to each other, as well as compared to some other liquid highlighters and illuminators that I have on hand. Be forewarned, I went a little overboard on the swatches. Auric Glow Lust in the shade Morganite, Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter in the shade 1 Fair, the new reformulated Milk Makeup Sunshine Skin Tint in the shade Fair, Natasha Denona Face Glow reformulated version in the shade N10, Kosas Tinted Face Oil in the shade 1, Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint in the shade Rendezvous, and Glossier Skin Tint in the shade G12. Auric Glow Lust in the shade Morganite, Hollywood Flawless Filter, shade 1 Fair, Charlotte Tilbury Wonder Glow Primer, Kevyn Aucoin Crystal Clear Highlighter, MAC Strobe Cream in the shade Pink Light, Rare Beauty Liquid Highlighter in the shade Enlighten, Rare Beauty Primer, Billion Dollar Brows Gold Infused Illuminator, Ilia Liquid Serum Highlighter in the shade Nova, First Aid Beauty Radiance Illuminating Moisturizer, and Soleil Toujours Perpetual Radiance Eye Glow and Illuminator. The Wonder Glow Primer and the Rare Beauty highlighter are very similar in texture to the Glow Lust. And liquid highlighters can be used in the same way that the Glow Lust or Hollywood Flawless Filter can be used, in that they can go under, mixed in, or over your foundations. Okay, now, getting into the good stuff. I'll pop the full description on the screen, but I'm really just going to go over the more interesting bits about these products. So the Auric description says, highlight, smooth, hydrate. For those who lust for luminosity, packed with ultrafine pearl and a skin-loving mix of squalane, glycerin, and porcelain flower, this artistry-grade adjustable formula gives you an instant radiance and hydration. It can be worn alone, blended with your favorite skincare, or used as a highlighter on top of foundation. They come in 7 flexible shades, glitter-free, fragrance-free, paraben-free, cruelty-free, and gluten-free. The Charlotte Tilbury description is, get your glow on and unlock 3 ways to a flawless looking glow by wearing Hollywood Flawless Filter alone, underneath, mixed with, or on top of your favorite foundation. Not to glow prime is a beauty crime, darlings. This product is free of parabens, sulfates, SLS, and SLES. It is also gluten-free and cruelty-free. One thing that I can say for sure that both of these have in common is that I hate both of the websites. They are not user-friendly at all. Let's talk about packaging. There are 2 similarities between the product packaging. They both come in glass bottles and they both have their names imprinted on the top of the lid. But after that is where they start to go their separate ways. Auric is a frosted glass bottle, where Charlotte Tilbury is just a standard glass bottle. Auric uses a more traditional yellow gold, whereas Charlotte Tilbury opts for the rose gold aesthetic. I do notice that when I'm holding the Auric Glow Lust, while it does feel more luxurious, the frosted glass or the texture on the glass bottle makes it seem like it's a lot more likely to slip out of my hands. I do feel like I have a better grip on the Hollywood Flawless Filter. Neither are falling out of my hands, but if you're someone who's concerned about grip, that is something that I notice. Along the same lines, the caps are different. With the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter, you do have the grooves or the ridges on the cap, so it's easier to unscrew. The Glow Lust has that tight cap that you have to pull off, but now after the many times that I've had to open and close it, I do notice that it's not difficult at all to pull off, and it does still fit quite securely. It just no longer has that yank factor that was prevalent in the first few times that I had to open it. Auric is longer and thinner and more of an oval shape. The Hollywood Flawless Filter is short and round. After years of pretty much daily use, I do notice that the lettering is rubbing off of my Hollywood Flawless Filter bottle. The Glow Lust does have a pump. It is pressure sensitive, so depending on the amount of pressure you're applying to the pump, you're going to get a corresponding amount of product. The Hollywood Flawless Filter does have the doe foot attached to the screw top, and then you just apply in layers to achieve your desired effect. Moving on to formula, texture, and application. While the ingredients lists are similar, which makes sense because they're in the same product category, there are some pretty distinct differences between their formulas and texture. The Glow Lust is thicker and a little bit heavier feeling, whereas Hollywood Flawless Filter is thinner and more lightweight. In my experience, I did notice that I needed a lot more Glow Lust product to achieve the same kind of glow from the Hollywood Flawless Filter. The Hollywood Flawless Filter looks a lot more tinny when I apply it. That could be an undertone thing, it could be a formula thing. All I know is that when I apply a good amount of the Flawless Filter, I have a very metallic effect on my face. When I use the Auric Glow Lust, it looks more wet and reflective, but not in a metallic way like I would notice using the Flawless Filter. Because of how thick the Glow Lust is, I don't think it spreads very well or evenly when you use your fingers. I notice that it tends to stick pretty much where you apply it, and you have to really work with it to get it to move around. I am happy to update you though on the texture issue I was having from the last video. I no longer notice that gritty sensation when I have to touch the Glow Lust. That may have just been an issue that I had in the beginning because it wasn't interacting well with the products I was using in conjunction. The Glow Lust still has that very silicone, slimy feeling, but it does a fantastic job at filling in my more porous areas and my fine lines. I believe it's because of the shade of Morganite that it is a good color corrector since it's more of a salmon tone, and I don't notice any fragrance at all. The Hollywood Flawless Filter has more of a peach base tone, and it's also quite balmy and filmy feeling between my fingertips. The Flawless Filter does blur pores and fill in fine lines. It just doesn't do as good of a job at those things as the Glow Lust does. I also noticed through my prolonged use of Hollywood Flawless Filter that it breaks down product around my nose and my forehead, and I don't notice that kind of breakdown when I use the Glow Lust. And I've also noticed that when I'm applying the Hollywood Flawless Filter on top of my foundation and other products, that it will lift whatever I've put it on top of. There is a slight paint thinner scent It is not as prevalent as it would be in the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation, for example. It's not a scent that I readily notice. I do have to go looking for it. I don't notice when I'm applying the product or when I'm wearing the product that there's a scent. It's really only if you are smelling straight from the bottle. Both products can be worn similarly in that they can be worn under foundation, mixed in with your foundation, or on top of your foundation. These are radiance enhancers, so they're more closely linked to liquid highlighters than they are to foundation. Both products give sheer to less sheer coverage. I don't even think light coverage is an appropriate coverage amount to say that they are, but you get varying amounts of sheer coverage when you use either product. I've noticed that I can build some sort of coverage or additional glow when I use the Glow Lust, but if I am trying to build up the Hollywood Flawless filter, it just really amps up the metallic shine. So I don't recommend building up the Hollywood Flawless filter unless you want to look very metallic. I typically will use a brush to apply both products. Well, I use the doe foot to apply the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless filter, but I'll blend it out with a brush. I don't like using my fingers with either of these products. I feel like it wastes a lot of product because it gets absorbed into your hand. I feel like my Ulta number 13 brush does a really great job at moving the product around and at applying it, stippling it in, buffing it in, whatever I'm trying to do, this brush does. But when I use the brush, I feel like I get a better payoff than I do with my fingers or a sponge. I feel like when I use a sponge, it dims the glow factor a little bit, and when I use a brush, I'm able to get more of its high glow potential out of either product. I don't think either of them is particularly long wearing, but I do think the Glow Lust dulls sooner than the Hollywood Flawless filter. Before getting into my final thoughts, I'm going to insert a whole bunch of clips from my 2-week wear test. The wear test was for 8 hours with no additional products outside of my normal skincare routine. I have Hollywood Flawless filter on the right side of my face and the Auric Glow Lust on the left side. I did notice that the Glow Lust settled into the lines under my eyes, but both the Flawless filter and the Glow Lust did a great job at blurring my pores and texture elsewhere on my face. Auric did a better job overall though. After 8 hours, both products were sliding off of my face and easily wiped away using my fingers. The wear test was for 8.5 hours. I primed using the Natasha Denona Face Glow Base. On the left side of my face, I'm applying the Flawless filter around the outside since it breaks down the foundation I placed in the center of my face. Using more stippling motions than dragging, I work the Flawless filter into my skin. On the right side of my face, I apply a mixture of the NARS and the Flawless filter. The NARS foundation sets very quickly, so you have to move very fast with this one. This time, I'm really working the mix into my brush and then buffing it in using swiping and dragging motions. I didn't feel well this day, so I didn't apply any other makeup. This foundation normally lasts much longer than 8 hours and has full coverage. Mixing it with the Flawless filter did not do this foundation any favors. This wear test was for 11 hours. I primed using the Natasha Denona Face Glow Primer. On the left side of my face, I apply 1 pump of the Glow Lust around the outside, and I work it in using the Ulta number 13 brush. I smooth it over using the $1 Billion Brows Sponge. On the right side of my face, I use a mix of the foundation and the Glow Lust. Again, smoothing everything over with the $1 Billion Brows Sponge. At the end of the night, everything still looks pretty good, but I lost almost everything off of my nose. In the close-ups, you can see just how nicely blurred everything still is. This wear test is for 11.5 hours. I had a fake tanning accident, so don't look at my hands. This was the first wear test I did back in January, and I have no idea what's going on with my hair or the camera angle. I primed using the Natasha Denona Face Glow Primer. On the left side of my face, I applied the Flawless filter under the foundation, and on the right side, I applied a mix of the two products. This is not a long-wearing foundation, so I'm not super surprised by how bad it looks at the end of the night, but it definitely looks worse on the side that the Flawless filter was applied under the foundation. The wear test was for 11 hours. I primed using the Jet Lag Mask from Summer Fridays. I have no idea why I'm using my middle finger to apply. I'm probably not flicking you off on purpose, unless you deserve it. On the left side of my face, I'm applying 1 pump to the outside, and on the right side, I'm applying a mix of the two. I love this foundation, but man, does it oxidize. At the end of the night, you can see that my pores are still blurred, but most of my foundation has rubbed off of my nose. There's heavy breakdown on my forehead and in between my eyebrows. My chin is rubbed off as well. These two products did not work out well together. This wear test was for 10.5 hours. I primed using the Natasha Denona Face Glow Primer. The left side is under the foundation and on the right side is a mix of the two. This day was the easiest to mix since they have the same type of applicator. At the end of the night, I'm clearly having some hair issues. Other than my nose and chin, the foundation looks pretty good. This wear test was for 14 hours. I primed using the Lawless Set the Stage primer. I forgot that I had cut jalapenos and touched my eye, so I had to take my contacts out and switch to glasses for the end of the night check-in. I dot the Glow Lust around my face on the left side, and I mix the two on my right side. The foundation looked amazing in the beginning of the day, but by the end of the night, it was a complete mess. To be fair, it was 14 hours later, though. It's rubbed off of my nose and chin, they're settling under my eyes, and there's some heavy breakdown and separating on my forehead. Just a reminder, if you're ever curious about what products I'm using, I do have a detailed breakdown in the description box. I have additional information about my skin type and preferences as well. Now that all that's out of the way, let's get into my final thoughts. Starting with my expectations. As you know, originally, I had expected to have a joyous experience using the Glow Lust, and that's not quite what happened, but we all know how that turned out, and if you don't know, go watch the other video. Just kidding. Kind of. My initial experience was very lackluster, which was the opposite of how I felt when I was first using the Hollywood Flawless filter. I wanted to wear it all the time. There were days I would put on makeup just so I could put on Hollywood Flawless filter. In terms of expectations, I was expecting to enjoy the Glow Lust at least as much as I enjoy Hollywood Flawless filter. Glow Lust has really toyed with my emotions these last few weeks, let me tell you. There have been days that I've loved it, and then there were days that I absolutely resented putting it on. The way that I found that I enjoy wearing the Glow Lust the most is by mixing half a pump to a full pump into my foundation, and then maybe a little bit more applied to the cheekbones after I've put on the rest of my makeup, or as an occasional touch-up throughout the day. I don't think that the Glow Lust works very well underneath foundation, whether it be used as a primer or whether it's just being used as an additional layer underneath foundation. I think that it depends on what foundation you're mixing with the Glow Lust. First of all, your results are going to be dependent on what foundation you're pairing with the Glow Lust, because it's like mixing water and oil. If you're mixing the wrong kind of foundation, you're going to get a mixture that doesn't pair well, and that's when the breakdown and things start happening. I don't think that this wears well underneath foundation, especially since it loses its shine pretty steadily throughout the day. After a few hours, your glow has dulled substantially. I think that you get more out of this product when you have mixed it in with your foundation or when you're applying it on top of foundation. Alternatively, I think that the Flawless filter works better when it's applied underneath foundation. Since when it's applied under the foundation, you lose that metallic cast that it leaves on your skin, and you're just left with that nice glow. I still don't think that any one person needs both of these products at the same time. While they do perform differently, realistically, you're still getting very similar results. It really just depends on what look you're going for to determine if you need Hollywood Flawless filter or if you need the Auric Glow Lust. I really like the doe foot applicator from the Flawless filter, and I feel like I'm the only person, but especially after using the Glow Lust for these last couple of weeks, I really think the doe foot applies the product better. I think that with what the Radiance Booster is meant to do and how you're meant to use it, I do think the doe foot is a really great way to apply it. And again, just because I think that this point is worth mentioning, I will say it again, that you need a lot more Glow Lust to get the same level of high shine that you get from the Flawless filter. I don't quite know where to add this part of commentary that I want to include, because there doesn't seem to be a good place to fit it in with the flow or progression of where I want to go with the video. It's just something I want to include because it's something that's bothering me and I need to talk about it. Thank you for understanding. In the reviews and in Sam's introductory video and on the website, people keep saying that you can mix this product in, the Glow Lust in, with your skincare. It just seems so odd to me that that's where the thought process was, that you're gonna mix the Glow Lust in with your skincare, with your favorite serums, with your favorite moisturizers. To me, Glow Lust is very much a makeup item. It's not something that's ever crossed my mind that I would want to mix in with skincare. And I do notice I did notice a reviewer who stumbled across that line when they were talking about it in the PR unboxing about how you can mix it in with your skincare. Even the website's description says that you should use it alone, mixed with your favorite skincare, or on top of foundation. I don't think there's ever been a time that I've looked at my skincare and thought, you know what would make you better? Liquid highlighter. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. There's a lot about the phrasing and the website in general that I really don't like, and if the opportunity arises to purchase again from Auric directly, I don't think that I would. I think that any future releases, if I choose to buy them, I would need to purchase them from a third-party retailer like Sephora or Ulta or some other reseller, because I just cannot with the website. Moving on to claim accuracy. Highlight. Yes. Smooth. Yes. Hydrate. Yes. I think tentatively, yes. It depends on what kind of hydrate you want. Is this something you could use in place of a moisturizer? No. But it doesn't make my skin feel any drier or tighter. So in that sense, yes, it's hydrating. Instant radiance and hydration. I think that that's subjective, especially on what kind of results you're trying to achieve. You could add more product to get more radiance. So if you're starting out with a pump of product already, yes, you're going to have intense instant radiance. But if you're starting out with a quarter pump or a tiny squeeze, you have to build up the radiance. And as for instant hydration, it's not a moisturizer, it's not a skincare product, so I don't necessarily think that that's true either. Apply to clean skin or mix with your favorite skincare product for an all-over sheer glow. Sheer glow is right. Also, you need to pay attention to what products you're mixing with the Glow Lust. It doesn't play nicely with other formulas. Depending on what you're mixing it with, you are likely to notice pilling and separating. Blend 1 to 2 pumps with your favorite complexion product for a boost of radiance, that's bolded, and more coverage. I hope you have a snack, because this is a long one. I have to roll up my sleeves. Remember how I said I hate the phrasing on the website? This is one of those times. I wish it said something like add desired amount with your favorite complexion product. Or I wish it said something like add half of a pump and then add more as necessary. Because advising you to use 1 to 2 pumps, do they even know what their product is that they're advising that on? Do they even know what they're selling on the website that they're saying use 1 to 2 pumps? 1 to 2 pumps is a lot of product, especially when you're adding it to your favorite complexion product, which could be another 1 to 3 pumps of another foundation. So you are maybe adding 5 pumps of product onto your face, and you're getting a boost of radiance with 1 to 2 pumps. I am so bothered by this. I want to break this down for you even further. I wish that the website emphasized that there's pressure sensitivity in the pump and that you can adjust how much product you want to come out. This is 1 pump. This is 2 pumps. These are big pumps versus pumps like the Laura Mercier Radiance Perfecting Foundation, and here is the Milani Screen Queen. But look at what 2 pumps of product is. You're going to be adding that into however much foundation you're using, plus whatever layers you're putting on top of your foundation, your concealers, your powders, your bronzers, whatever else you're going to layer on top of it. That is so much going onto your face. I typically use 2 pumps of the Pat McGrath Labs Skin Fetish Sublime Foundation. So here's what 2 pumps of the Pat McGrath Labs foundation looks like, paired with the 2 pumps of the Glow Lust. That's at least 2 full faces worth of product. 1 to 2 pumps is not a boost of radiance. It's like a bucket of radiance being thrown on your face. And the coverage that this adds is negligible, except for the color correcting aspect that I have a hunch is only for the shade Morganite. I take a lot of issue with things that are on this website. As for the concoction that was made by mixing the Glow Lust and the Milani and the Laura Mercier and the Pat McGrath. I used that as my foundation when I tried to film this video already, and it was not a good look. Fun fact, that's why the video is up late, because I was going through the footage of what it looked like when I wore that mix, and it was not good. It was not something that I felt good putting on the internet, if you know what I mean. So that is why I am refilming with a better face of makeup on. Can also be worn on neck and décolleté for a sexy glow. Sexy glow is bolded. Well, what do you say we try it out? I've got my Glow Lust, my dramatic hair flip. That's one pump. No, 2 pumps is supposed to go for your face. This is a much larger area than my face, so let's go 2 pumps. Now remember, this is how much you're supposed to put on your entire face. Did this give me a sexy glow? Let me know what you think down below. I'm not entirely sure who the target customers for this product are, outside of those who lust for luminosity. It seems to be geared more towards normal to dry skin types, but I don't see anything that definitively states that one way or the other. In my experience as a normal to dry skin type, I don't think it's super long wearing, and the shine does dull after a few hours, so normal to oily skin people may like this. Maybe not super oily skin, but mild to maybe moderate oily skin may still find some kind of benefit in this, since it doesn't stay super luminous all day long. If price is a determining factor for you and whether or not to pick this up versus the Hollywood Flawless filter, I would say that Hollywood Flawless filter would be the option for you, because shipping would be cheaper or free depending on where you're purchasing from. The fact that there's slightly more product in Glow Lust means almost nothing, since you need to use so much more to achieve that full glow potential. It really depends on your desired usage of the product. I recommend going with the Flawless filter if you are more interested in using it as a primer or underneath your foundation. If you want that wet, healthy, just left the gym kind of sweaty look, then Glow Lust is the product that will help you achieve that more than the Flawless filter will, since the Flawless filter does have that metallic finish. When I was testing out the Glow Lust, I did find that it worked a lot better with thicker formula foundations. It did not mix well with thinner formulas, where the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless filter does mix in better with thinner formulas. So I think that if you're someone who uses very lightweight, think Glossier Skin Tint thin formulas, then Flawless filter will work better for you. But if you're using a thicker, more full coverage type of foundation, like the NARS Soft Matte Complete Foundation, I think the Glow Lust would pair better. You're better off taking a look at the foundations that you have and that you like to wear, and based on those formulas, choose what you think will mix better, because the Glow Lust is very picky with what formulas it performs with. I'm going to continue using both of these products. I really love the pairing of the Glow Lust and the NARS Soft Matte Complete Foundation. I feel like an unbeatable, unstoppable, glowing goddess sent from the heavens, like Wonder Woman. I feel like Wonder Woman when I'm wearing this, and let me tell you, that's a powerful feeling. I mean, don't I look like Wonder Woman? Can't you feel that Wonder Woman vibe through the screen right now? I mean, come on. I would repurchase Glow Lust for this feeling alone. Okay, I guess it settles it. I'm hashtag Team Glow Lust. Let me know, are you hashtag Team Glow Lust or hashtag Hollywood Flawless filter? Do you think I should pick up the new Becca Dewy Tint and put that through the test as well to see how that compares against Hollywood Flawless filter and the Glow Lust? I hope you found this review helpful. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. If you have any other foundations you'd like me to check out or any other videos you'd like to see from me, definitely let me know down below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I will catch you again very soon in my next video.